Hello everybody!
Hello everybody!
So today we would like to introduce to you a new game that we have been working on. It's called
Shrinks and Ladders.
So from the name you might guess that this game has something like a snakes and ladders element to it. If you did make that guess you would be...
Correct.
Yeah, because it's a lot like snakes and ladders.
It's mostly based on snakes and ladders.
Except we wanted you to be able to have interesting
choices.
Yeah. So in order to do that we have one key thing. Each player has 3 pieces and they can choose which piece they move. This normally means you're a lot less likely to land on snakes and more likely to land on ladders. Why there are only 2 ladders and 4 snakes. The other key difference to snakes and ladders is the shrink tubes. So, to play this game, you are going to need 1 piece of paper with the Shrinks and Ladders board on. You can get this from www.storyfeet.com. That's stories that you tell and feet that you have on the bottom of your legs. .com/games. And in there you'll find Shrinks and Ladders, and you can click on the rules and on a board which you can print out. The other things you're going to need are a D12 dice. That's a 12-sided dice. You can play it with 2 D6 dice. The game is similar enough.
But you can't go 1.
You'll also need 4 counters per player.
Yeah. 1 for the shrink scale.
1 for the shrink scale. So if we've got 3 players, red, green and yellow, then each of them will start on the shrink scale with 1 counter at 0 on the shrink scale and the other 3 counters in the start square. The aim of the game is to get 2 of those pieces into the finish square. Firstly, let's talk about the shrink scale.
Well, if you go through a shrink tunnel and you can't go out the other side, you have to use the shrink scale.
So you have to increase your shrink value on the scale. You have to increase your position on the shrink scale, and that's a cost. That's a problem, because what does it do to your roll?
It slows you down.
Exactly, it slows you down. You have to take away whatever your shrink value is from whatever you rolled. So if I rolled an 8 and my shrink value was maybe 5, then I would have to move 8 minus 5 spaces. So that's 1, 2, 3 spaces. If I'd rolled less than that, then maybe I rolled a 2, then that would be less than that. Or if I rolled a 5, then I'd decrease the shrink by 1. So let's be a bit more exact about how shrinking works. The problem is this. You come up to this shrink tube and you roll a really big number. Maybe we roll a 10. That's a 2. Forget that. We rolled a 10. We're going to move 10 spaces. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unfortunately, we've reached the end and we still have 4 more spaces to move. So we have to go 7, 8, 9, 10, and our shrink has increased by 4. Then next time when we roll, maybe we roll a 12. Well, now we roll 12 and we say, well, 12, but that's actually an 8. And so we can move our next guy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. Or we can move this guy 8 spaces if we wanted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And because he didn't pass the end of the shrink tube,
he doesn't get the shrink.
He doesn't have to shrink anymore. And that's nice. Landing on other players.
So if you land on another player, it goes down. But...
So, for example,
if red rolled a 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it goes down. And if
yellow had actually been in this space,
it goes down as well.
And if there was anyone in the bottom row on that same space, they would have been pushed off, and anyone pushed off the bottom row goes
to the start. Even with the 11.
Yeah, even from the 11, and that happens quite often because if you couldn't get past the 11 and someone else rolls a 12 or 11, that pushes you back. And that's quite a risk as well on these ones. You're quite likely to get hit if you are in the 11, 20, 31 or 40 spaces because people have to shrink and stop there. So you have to be careful and you want to get out of those places. So this one, this tube is 5 long, this tube is 4 long, this tube is 3 long, this tube is 2 long, and it's almost like there's a tube here as well, though we haven't actually drawn it. If you get to the finish, any extra rolls have to be used up by increasing your shrink. So here, I'm here at 43, and I roll a 12. Well, 12, that's actually 8, because I've got to take away the 4, but then I've got to move 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is an awful lot of shrinking to have to do to get to the finish. And that means all my future rolls, getting my first guy into the finish, now I can only roll 2. So I'll be much better waiting until I get a lower roll like a 2 to pull that in, so I don't have to shrink and stop my other pieces from being able to get into the finish line. The winner is, of course, the player who gets their second guy into the finish. So the second guy, it doesn't matter if you overroll because as soon as he's in, you're safe. But the first guy, you've got to consider whether you'll shrink at the finish line as well. Tips for playing this game. 1, whenever you roll the dice, you always have to check your position on the shrink scale. So if you roll a 5, you would say, I rolled a 5, now that's actually, and then take away, and then say 2. And then you can count 2, and you go 1, 2. Get in the habit of saying, I rolled a, which is actually a, and you will find it a lot easier to keep track in this game. I rolled a 3, which is actually a 1. If you roll a number lower than your position on the shrink scale, you get to shrink the shrink scale. So, say for example, I've got it on the 3, I roll a 2, then it goes down by 1 space, and I don't get to move. So it's kind of annoying, but you do at least get to decrease your shrinkage some points. If I rolled a 3 as well, it would do it. What's your favourite bit about this game, Toby?
My favourite bit about the game is that it's difficult.
Yeah, it's not easy. You have to think about it. You can strategize. You can make good plans, can't you? And I find it quite interesting to play. I enjoy playing it with the kids, and I believe they enjoy playing it too.
Yeah, me and Jacob seem to like it quite a lot.
So once again, if you want to play this game, you've got to go to. Remember?
www.storyfeed.com/games.
That's right, that's www.storyfeed.com/games. And in there are a couple of other games that I haven't done the videos for, but you can try out. Most of them are fairly easy to print. There's one that's a bit more difficult to print, and I haven't even got all the stuff first past the post, but I'm still working on that one right now. Do take a look, try out all the games. We'll do some more videos explaining rules to some of these games in the near future. We look forward to seeing more from you. Do subscribe this video. Do leave comments about your experience of playing the game. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And look forward to hearing from you in the future. Bye!
Bye!